Of course, Rivers State has once again become the epicenter of Nigeria's political tension as impeachment threats and legislative parties raise fundamental questions about separation of powers, loyalty, and constitutional order. To provide perspective, of course, on the program, you listened to the Rivers State Assembly members reading out the various misconduct before we went on that short break. Of course, we have political gladiator also joining us to discuss this, a former deputy speaker of the Ogun State House of Assembly, Honorable Remi Hazan. Thank you so much for joining us on Political Update today.
Thank you for having me. I hope I'm audible enough this time.
Okay, we can hear you, and of course we can see you. It's interesting what is happening in Rivers State, and I know that you are a man of experience. You've been there, you've seen how politics is being played, and Nigerians, of course, we are interested in what is happening there. And people say this is actually about politics, while some said it is about due process in the state as to what the governor and his deputy has done. I don't know how you read meanings to what is happening in Rivers State. Maybe share that with us before we move on.
Right, thanks once again for having me. The executive-legislative relationship is a very dicey one in the context of what democracy itself portends. Because on one side, you have what is called separation of powers, and on another side, you have checks and balances. So on both ends, you have one reason for each of them to stay on their own, and on the other side, you have one reason or the other for them to work together, and so you can have good governance. So to that extent, it remains dicey, because once there is a fundamental disagreement that becomes irreconcilable, then you begin to have issues like this. Now, legislators naturally are expected to be policy formulators. They're expected to be the engine room that brings out the initiative, the policy direction, and what have you. And once they are able to finally put them together as a piece of legislation, it is passed on to the executive to give their assent, and then it becomes law upon which everything operates. Now, when you have excesses of the executive, one of the ways by which it is checked is via the instrumentality of oversight, expected to bring people who are getting disorderly to become orderly in how function in governance. It is at the extreme end of that oversight that the instrumentality of impeachment can come. For the state governors is section 188 of the Constitution. It is expected to be an instrument of probity, an instrument of accountability, which are all indicators of good governance. But more often than not, you find out that it is being used to, whether by one godfather wanting to get even with his godson, who may be the executive governor or the other, or by the system that is not comfortable with the posture of that governor wanting to get back at him or her. I remember back in 2002, back then in Bayelsa, when the government at the center wanted Governor Alamisia out at all costs. It was this same event that played out, and at the end of the day, the governor was removed. So it is intended in the law governance, but it is used more by supposed gatekeepers to get even with those that they consider not helping their relevance and their intent in the entire governance architecture. That's just the summary of how it can be painted.
Okay, I read a piece you wrote concerning what is presently happening in Rivers State, and I could see that you are unhappy with the way democracy is being run, especially the things that politicians do with power. You also alluded to that reality now, that what the godfathers and of course the government at the centers, how we navigate through this dynamics and politics is actually troubling for a young democracy like ours in Nigeria. What exactly, how dangerous is this trend in the Nigerian political landscape? Of course, talking about how the people are actually demanding for what is better than what they are doing right now.
In the way governance is carried out in our climate, we're yet to really manifest the fullness of what democratic culture should be. And when loyalty is being demanded on the premise of, even if you are asked to raise up your right hand, you will ask the godfather, which of the hands does he prefer that you raise up, even though he has mentioned that it is the right hand, because you don't might please him or not. So the extent to which we are taking loyalty is one of the reasons why our democracy is taking a back foot, kind of. So I will appreciate when players of this game get to the level where they are able to come with objective positions that can even enlighten the godfather, especially when they are within their closet. But when you just want to be seen as loyal on all premise, then you'll be able to do what you like. A few days ago, some of the members of the Rivers State House of Assembly came out to say they are not in line with impeachment. Yesterday, 2 others joined the initiative. Today again, we're hearing that all the 4. That tells you straight away that at some point, somebody somewhere has probably challenged their loyalty, and that's why.
But of course, when you listen to the argument of the 4 members that initially wanted to back out of the impeachment process in the state, the argument was that instead of the governor to also show a sign of, oh, we want political solution, he is also sending his aides to attack the assembly members on social media and different platforms. Is the governor also removed from most of these allegations against him in Rivers State?
The easiest thing to do when you have a mindset is to look for the tiniest excuse and hold on to that as the reason why you want to do something. Anyone who sincerely is seeking peace will go through all lengths to get that peace, irrespective of whatever other side talks that they are hearing. So it is easy to say it's because somebody does something that has provoked or triggered what they are doing. But the truth of the matter is that it wasn't probably genuine at first instant, and that's why it's so easy for them to walk it back. But at the center of it all is the stand that supposed godfathers take that push all these players to want to show how loyal they are to the extreme. But at the end of it, it's the people who suffer, because when governance takes the back seat and all these games are the front burners, then governance will not be able to deliver on the promises made to the people. I sympathize with the people of Rivers because for some time, governance has taken the back seat.
So what role should party leadership play in all of this? We've seen the governor defecting to the All Progressives Congress, and yes, you also have the assembly members being members of the All Progressives Congress. What exactly is the party leadership role? What is going to be their role moving forward in all of this?
You know, this is like President Trump said when he was categorizing Nigeria as a country of a particular concern. Rivers State is a state of particular concern at this time because the issues concerning their own play out quite novel. You have a set of local government who just recently won election on APC platform, almost all of them, except for two local government. You have state assembly members who only recently decamped to APC. And you also have a governor who less than a month ago decamped to APC. Now, they are all in APC now, having not mastered how it works in APC. So who's really going to talk to who? And on what premise would that person be talking to anybody? Until, of course, the fusion that will make them really confide in each other take place. So the only person who can resolve this at this time, the national officer, especially the national leader. If that doesn't happen, it will continue to be an ill wind that blows no one no good.
Okay, when you check, we cannot actually pretend that we do not really know why this, this update is coming up, why the crisis that we seem to think that it has disappeared in Rivers State is still coming up. People talked about it as being the 2027 game. The godfather is not interested in his godson coming back to be governor of Rivers State. And of course, the godson, who happens to be the governor of the state now, is also looking at doing something different, which was people describe it as a political masterstroke, him defecting to the All Progressives Congress. It was not expected, it was not expected from him by the political godfather. So in all of this, what can the people do differently to ensure that it is their interest that should dominate every political discussion in Rivers State as we speak? Are you with us? Did you get the question?
Some bit of distortion there from network, but let me just pick it up from where I got you up to. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. There was some bit of network distortion, but let me pick it up from where I got you up to. Now, the issue of the relationship between the godfather and the godson, the issue of the relationship between the godfather and the godson are quite unfortunate. Ordinarily, that shouldn't be.
Of course, we've been having this discussion with a former Deputy Speaker of the Ogun State House of Assembly, Honorable Remi Hassan, and we're looking at the different situations, different updates, political updates in Rivers State presently. Everybody is talking. The gladiators are talking, and the governor is also expected to react or behave a certain way. The political gladiators are expecting him to not do certain things. But of course, they are all talking about survival. In politics, that's what they say. It's about the interest. What exactly are they all interested in? That's the political power itself. And how can the people not be the ones losing at the end of the day? It's a conversation that we will continue to update you. Maybe now that you also have it, that the Rivers Assembly met this morning and unanimously resolved to pass notice of impeachment to the Chief Judge for investigation and adjourned to January 27 is also another update that we saw this morning. When this is going to end, I really do not know. We really do not know. But onlookers are there watching. The critical stakeholders are watching as well. What the role of the president is going to be in this one, whether the president is also going to intervene and give them a peace deal. We don't know whether that is going to come again, at this stage of the Rivers State political crisis. Some said, are you back? Okay, maybe we have him back now. Honorable Remi Hassan, are you back with us? Can you hear me? Can you hear us now, sir?
I don't know if I'm audible again.
Yes, we can hear you now. You're back. You can go ahead with your contribution. Yes, you can go ahead with your contribution, sir. Can you hear us? Okay, I think the network is trying to be unfriendly with us on political update today. We'll do a short break. When we return, I hope that the audio and of course the clarity will be better. Keep watching Political Update on Ogun State Television. Stay with us.
Speaker, in line with Section 188, subsection 5, will forward a letter to the Chief Judge of River State calling on him to immediately set up a 7-man panel to begin investigations of these allegations against Her Excellency, the Deputy Governor of River State.
All right, this is still Political Update on Ogun State Television. Of course, our guest is still Honorable Remi Hassan. He's a political gladiator himself, and of course, the former Deputy Speaker of the Ogun State House of Assembly. He has a lot of experience when it comes to this particular issue. Are you with us now, sir? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I am with you.
Okay, thank you so much. So exactly what lessons should other state assemblies learn from these? We saw the Lagos example, and of course it died down immediately. The gladiators came together to resolve it. But other assemblies in the state, what lessons is in all this for them?
No, first thing first, whoever is going to be promoted by a godfather to assume any position, especially an elective office, do not promise what you can't possibly give. It is better to under-promise and over-deliver than to over-promise and under-deliver, because this field will always come out.
But then, it's looking
the same scenario that led to the impeachment of former Governor Ladoja. These irreconcilable differences between Godfather and Godson. We find the reason for the impeachment are not tenable. Just because of that disagreement is enough a reason to proceed with the impeachment. And besides, legislators are so empowered that they can vote through a proceedings that a woman is a man, and it will stand, and there are books like that. So people should not promise what they cannot give. If the conditions you are being given is beyond your capacity, stay away. Don't bother yourself, because it will not end well. I don't know what transpired between Governor Fumara and former Governor Wike, but definitely there are irreconcilable differences.
What about the godfathers? Should we continue to promote them in situations like this? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's looking like. They are just the ones winning, all the way. So what message do you have for the political godfathers?
The way the system is wired, it is wired to have them. Because even people who criticize godfathers themselves. At some point, when former Governor Tony Adengi was the godfather in Edo State, those who removed him, that who...
Okay, there are some people that said the Rivers example is a peculiar example because we've seen other states with...
Edo State, Adam Soshomone, and he's got some, Governor Obaseki. You know, it is just the way the system is wired. It's not as if this doesn't play out in the advanced democracy, but they have a way of managing it. But in our case, it's louder than can be done, and that is not good for the system. So until the system begins to purge godfathers, unfortunately it will continue to happen. We can only pray that we'll have godfathers who truly have the mind of God and do well for the people.
We have specific states, for instance. Ogun State is also a state of interest when you talk about different states with these kind of examples. Godfatherism is something that we've come to embrace. Some said it's actually not a bad thing. It is what the godfathers do that we should critically look into. So promoting godfathers and of course positive godfatherism now, that's what people would like to describe it, or some people has described it. Positive godfatherism is actually one. They talk about Lagos example. They talk about, I don't think we've had so much of examples like the ones we have in Lagos. How do you think the game is better played for everybody to have a win-win situation? You have addressed a part of it, which is that if you are coming as a political godson or goddaughter, you should not promise what you think you cannot get. So how can this be made better in subsequent elections?
Like I said, it's a two-way thing. So what happens on the one hand also needs to replicate on the other hand. I mentioned that godfathers should themselves have the mind of God, so that their intention will not be repugnant to the greater good of a greater number of the people. If godfathers themselves have good intention, they can even guide their godsons to succeed, even as their interests are protected. But then, we seem not to have that cordiality among the godfathers in such a way that even among the people that are called godfathers, there are disagreements. The reason why Lagos State is different is because there was a plan and everybody is staying very religious to that plan. That development is still what is being operated till today. Even when there are amendments, you find out that they are not the complete deviation from the original plan. So if you are coming on board, you don't have any reason not to perform. But do we even have those who want to be godfathers now with plan other than nepotic plans that they have for themselves and for their own children and maybe another set of godsons that they have?
Okay.
Until everybody have a change of mindset that will put us in a better light, it will be difficult for this to be a win-win situation. Lagos is a model, everybody can begin to come to us, and I think it's a good one for Nigeria.
A notice of impeachment has been passed to the chief judge, and of course, even if the judges actually say he's not guilty, is he safe? That's another big question. Looking at the experience of former Kogi deputy governor who was still removed despite not guilty.
You know, if a deputy governor is positioned for impeachment, if the governor wants him gone, he's gone. If the governor is positioned for impeachment, if the president doesn't want that person gone, because the most important ingredient of impeachment is first the security, and it is in the hand of the government at the center. If that is deployed against this process, it may suffer some still bad. And so I still feel Mr. Governor has one or two roles he can play, because the chief is an appointee of the governor, and he can decide to ask the governor for a list of those that he wants to put on that panel who will return him not guilty. So the process itself it is not without all of this the hand of Esau and the voice of Jacob. So I see it as, yes, it's a push forward, but it may still not succeed in the final analysis. The government at the center decide to look away, and I don't see that happening.
All right, of course, this is where we draw the curtains on today's edition of Political Updates. Another edition will be back next week, God willing. I want to sincerely appreciate you, Honorable Remi Azan, for joining our conversation this lovely afternoon. Thank you so much for adding insight into the discussion.
Thanks for having me.
And of course, today's discussion reminds us that governance is not just about power, but responsibility to workers, to institutions, and to the citizens who bear the consequence of political discussions. I am Simiat Abaru. Thank you so much for being a part of the program. Next week will be another time, God willing. Bye for now.